The night has brought you here again. Welcome back to Sleepy Palm Island. Tonight, we'll rest on the veranda of a stilted jungle home overlooking a moonlit river embraced by misty mountains, palms swaying gently in the night air, a bamboo boat drifting slow and quiet below, and a white cat curled close, warm as the evening itself. Before we begin, if this story keeps you company tonight, feel free to like, subscribe, and share in the comments what city you're in and what time it is there right now. You'll find others here too, wandering through the night just like you. So get comfortable, pull a blanket close, and let's drift into tonight's story. The house stands on tall wooden stilts, resting at the edge of the riverbank. Its walls are dark, polished wood, breathing the scent of years in the tropical air. A thatched roof curves gently, its edges whispering when the night breeze passes. Warm light seeps from narrow windows, spilling onto the cozy veranda and the steps below. The veranda boards are smooth underfoot, worn by countless bare steps and quiet nights. A low table rests in one corner, its surface carrying a simple clay teapot and 2 cups. The air around the house hums with a slow, living warmth, deep and steady. Beyond the veranda rail, the river slides past without hurry. Its surface reflects the moon in broken paths, shifting with the smallest currents. The color of the water changes with every breath of the wind, silver, gold, then silver again. Gentle ripples brush against smooth stones near the bank, the sound soft as silk being folded. On the far side of the river, the jungle leans close, thick with palms and heavy leaves. Mist drapes itself between the trees, moving in threads that weave and dissolve. The silhouettes of tall fronds sway in slow arcs against the dim glow of the hills. Clusters of orchids cling to the trunks, their petals barely catching the moonlight. Somewhere higher in the canopy, a night bird calls, low, drawn out, and distant. The sound lingers, melting into the warm hush that follows. From time to time, a palm frond shivers, scattering drops left from the evening air. The drops strike the ground with a quiet rhythm, vanishing into the damp earth. The scent of the river carries up to the veranda, cool, mineral, and deep. It mingles with the smell of warm bamboo from the nearby fencing. From the hills the air brings faint hints of flowering vines, their sweetness diluted by mist. A lantern inside the house flickers, sending a soft pulse of gold onto the railing. The shadows it casts stretch across the boards, moving with the breeze. Inside, a chair rests near the open door, its woven seat faintly creaking in the night air. The fabric draped over its back stirs like a slow breath. The entire scene feels held, as if time has paused here, wrapped in the softness of the night. A single moth hovers by the veranda's edge, tracing small circles before drifting upward. The stars above are sharp and patient, their light steady against the dark dome of the sky. Clouds gather low over the hills, their edges brushed in silver. The glow of the moon paints the mist in shifting layers, now thin, now thick, like gauze. Somewhere in the undergrowth, a cricket sings in a steady, unbroken rhythm. Its song is joined by another, and then another, until the air is a weave of tiny sounds. The boards underfoot are still warm from the day, holding the memory of the sun. A faint breath of air moves over the river, bending the reflections just enough to notice. The palm leaves answer with a murmur, the sound sliding down into the darker undergrowth. A soft, low hum seems to rise from the earth itself, as if the ground is breathing. The water carries a dim sheen, like glass hiding a slow pulse beneath. In the distance, light drizzles over the jungle from the moon, finding openings between the leaves. The branches there hold still for long moments before shivering once, twice, and resting again. A scent of cooling tea drifts from the table, mingling with the heavier notes of river air. The steam curls upward, fading before it meets the night. The air settles again, folding all sound into the space between breaths. The stillness deepens, patient and unbroken. The veranda rail is smooth beneath the fingers, its grain warm and fine from years of touch. A faint trace of oil lingers there, mixed with the dry sweetness of polished wood. The boards creak softly when weight shifts, then fall silent again. Beyond the railing, the river bends away, drawing the moonlight with it. Its edge is lined with rounded stones, half submerged, each shining in a thin silver glaze. Near the bank, a cluster of reeds sways slowly, their tips brushing the surface. The sound is barely more than a whisper, a thin, trembling sigh. Farther out, the water flows in long, smooth lines, carrying reflections like silk unrolled. The jungle breathes in steady, unseen waves, humid air swelling and falling with the night. Palms arch over the water, their crowns holding fragments of starlight. Mist drapes itself low, curling over the first steps down to the shore. Its edges are soft, shifting with the faintest breeze, then closing in again. From somewhere high in the dark, a leaf detaches and falls, landing with a sound like a sigh. It rests on the surface of the river, spinning slowly as the current takes it. Above, the moon hangs low and full, its light dense and almost golden. The glow touches the edges of the veranda, settling in thin pools along the boards. Through the open door behind, warm light spills from a single lamp. Its flame moves in slow arcs, bending each time the air stirs. The scent of burning oil drifts outward, faint and steady. On the table, the clay teapot holds its warmth, its surface beading with moisture. The lid shifts slightly with each soft release of steam. One cup rests full, thin tendrils of vapor curling upward, catching the lamplight. The air wraps close around the body, warm yet carrying a hint of coolness from the water. Somewhere near the house, a gecko clicks, a brief sound, then stillness again. The night's quiet deepens, every small noise finding its place. From the far shore the shadow of a palm bends, then sways back slow as breath. The damp scent of the earth below the veranda rises, grounding the air with its weight. A small patch of moss at the base of the steps glows faintly in the dim light. Beyond it, the first stone of the path down to the river gleams under the moon. The stillness carries a sense of expectancy, as though the night is holding something just out of sight. The veranda rail is smooth beneath the fingers, its grain warm and fine from years of touch. A faint trace of oil lingers there, mixed with the dry sweetness of polished wood. The boards creak softly when weight shifts, then fall silent again. Beyond the railing, the river bends away, drawing the moonlight with it. Its edge is lined with rounded stones, half submerged, each shining in a thin silver glaze. Near the bank, a cluster of reeds sways slowly, their tips brushing the surface. The sound is barely more than a whisper, a thin, trembling sigh. Farther out, the water flows in long, smooth lines, carrying reflections like silk unrolled. The jungle breathes in steady, unseen waves, humid air swelling and falling with the night. Palms arch over the water, their crowns holding fragments of starlight. Mist drapes itself low, curling over the first steps down to the shore. Its edges are soft, shifting with the faintest breeze, then closing in again. From somewhere high in the dark, a leaf detaches and falls, landing with a sound like a sigh. It rests on the surface of the river, spinning slowly as the current takes it. Above, the moon hangs low and full, its light dense and almost golden. The glow touches the edges of the veranda, settling in thin pools along the boards. Through the open door behind, warm light spills from a single lamp. Its flame moves in slow arcs, bending each time the air stirs. The scent of burning oil drifts outward, faint and steady. On the table, the clay teapot holds its warmth, its surface beading with moisture. The lid shifts slightly with each soft release of steam. One cup rests full, thin tendrils of vapor curling upward, catching the lamplight. The air wraps close around the body, warm yet carrying a hint of coolness from the water. Somewhere near the house, a gecko clicks, a brief sound, then stillness again. The night's quiet deepens, every small noise finding its place. From the far shore, the shadow of a palm bends, then sways back, slow as breath. The damp scent of the earth below the veranda rises, grounding the air with its weight. A small patch of moss at the base of the steps glows faintly in the dim light. Beyond it, the first stone of the path down to the river gleams under the moon. The stillness carries a sense of expectancy, as though the night is holding something just out of sight. Far upstream, a faint glow begins to separate itself from the moonlight. It flickers once, then steadies, a warm amber pulse in the distance. The light is small against the breadth of the river, yet it holds the gaze. As the minutes pass, it grows clearer, revealing the shape of a lantern swaying gently. The lantern's glow spills over the water, painting a wavering path ahead of it. Shadows of reeds and branches bend across that path, vanishing as the boat draws near. The outline of the craft begins to take form, a narrow bamboo hull, long and low. Its sides are bound with woven strips, the texture catching glints of gold from the lantern. A single oar dips into the water with slow precision. Each stroke sends a soft swirl across the surface, breaking the moon's reflection for a breath. Then the ripples stretch outward, joining the river's own rhythm. The one guiding it stands near the stern, posture steady, movements unhurried. The figure's outline is dark, the lantern's light behind them turning their edges to gold. A conical hat tilts slightly forward, shadowing the face. The oar moves again, lift, turn, press, and the boat slides further into the night. Lantern light brushes the trunks of palms along the bank, revealing their pale vertical lines. The glow reaches the veranda, touching the wooden rail for a brief moment before slipping past. The sound of the oar is slow and deep, wood against water, followed by the soft drip of droplets falling back. With each stroke, the lantern sways, sending light across the ripples in arcs. A faint scent of bamboo and river reeds rises as the boat draws closer. From the prow, a bundle of netting rests, coiled, damp and dark. The air between boat and shore carries the quiet hiss of water sliding against the hull. The figure shifts weight, the oar changing sides without a splash. In the lantern's glow, the surface of the water turns to molten gold, then back to silver under the moon. The approach is unhurried, as though time has loosened its hold. Mist parts gently around the bow, closing again as the boat passes through. The shape of the hull reflects faintly in the current, edges blurred by the movement. When the boat reaches the middle stretch before the veranda, the light pools wider, spilling onto the boards. It illuminates the teacup on the table, the smooth curve of the blanket, the dark sheen of the rail. The figure at the stern tilts their head toward the shore for a brief moment. The oar pauses, held just above the surface, water dripping in silver threads. Then it dips again, drawing the craft forward with a single quiet pull. The boat glides past, the lantern's glow slipping across the house's shadow and back into open water. The sound of the oar fades, replaced by the soft hum of the river's own pace. From the veranda, the glow is still visible, framed now by mist and palm trunks. It diminishes slowly, each flicker fainter than the last, until it becomes a single point. That point rests on the horizon for a time, caught between river and night. Then it merges with the darkness, leaving the moon once again the sole keeper of the light. The space the boat occupied feels warmer in memory, as if its passing left a trace in the air. The ripples it made still move along the bank, small waves folding into one another. They reach the stones below the veranda, tapping them with a rhythm softer than breath. The scent of bamboo lingers faintly, carried downstream by the night breeze. Mist closes in where the glow once was, and the river returns to its quiet. The palms sway above as before, their shadows stretching and contracting over the water. Somewhere, a fish moves beneath the surface, disturbing the reflection of the moon. The light reforms itself slowly, as though the river is remembering its shape. The veranda settles deeper into the night, the air calm and waiting, as if holding on to the memory of the lantern's path. The chair gives a soft creak when weight shifts, the sound vanishing into the hush. The teacup still gives off the faintest tendril of steam, curling into the warm dark. A drop from the roof lands on the same stone as before, marking time with perfect regularity. Farther along the bank, the reeds resume their swaying, their whisper threading into the larger silence. The river keeps its slow course, carrying both light and shadow wherever the current turns. The hills watch from the distance, their slopes covered in drifting mist, patient and still. Above them, the stars shine without movement, unblinking in their watch. And all the while, the path of the lantern remains, unseen now, but held within the night itself. The last ripples from the passing boat soften until the river becomes smooth again. Moonlight lies unbroken across the current, a pale ribbon stretching between the banks. The air feels heavier now, as if the night has drawn in closer. Mist thickens along the far shore, hiding the line where water meets jungle. A palm leaf drifts down, spinning slowly, touching the surface without a sound. It floats away, carried toward the bend where the lantern light disappeared. From the hills, the faintest breath of wind arrives, cool and damp on the skin. It stirs the blanket, lifts the edge, then lets it fall back into place. Somewhere in the shadows, a gecko clicks once, then is silent. The veranda boards still hold their warmth, steady beneath bare feet. The scent of the river deepens, earthy, mineral, touched by the coolness of mist. Inside, the lamp's flame sways slightly, its glow catching on the lip of the teacup. Steam has thinned, yet the tea remains warm when the cup is lifted. Beyond the rail, the water moves in quiet folds, pulling silver shapes downstream. Small sounds return one by one, the brush of palm fronds, the creak of the chair, the hum of night insects. The moon holds steady above it all, patient and whole. A faint rustle in the grass below signals another presence. From the shadows at the edge of the steps, a large white cat appears. Its coat glows in the moonlight, each hair edged with silver. The cat pauses, watching with slow, unblinking eyes. Then it moves forward, silent paws pressing against the wooden boards. It settles beside the chair, tail curling neatly around its body. When a hand reaches down, the fur is warm and thick, the muscles beneath shifting as it leans in. A deep purr begins, steady and low, blending with the hum of the night. The sound fills the space between breaths, making the air seem even softer. The cat closes its eyes, head tilted slightly toward the touch. Lantern light from inside paints a golden line along its back, fading toward the tail. The river flows on, carrying the memory of the passing boat somewhere beyond the bend. The night folds around the house, the cat, the river, holding them in the same slow rhythm. The cat lifts its head, eyes half closed, and turns to gaze toward the river. Its ears pivot slightly, catching sounds too soft to name. The moonlight slides across its face, pooling in the curve between nose and cheek. A low sigh leaves its body, almost lost in the murmur of the water. From the far shore, the shadow of a palm sways, its reflection bending and folding in the current. The mist drapes over the water's edge, blurring the line between river and land. A faint ripple crosses the moon's path, stretching its light into wavering silver threads. The cup rests on the table, a thin curl of steam still lifting from its surface. Inside, the lamp's glow deepens, reaching the veranda in warm stripes across the boards. The air smells of damp earth and leaves, touched with the sweetness of distant blossoms. The cat shifts closer, its body pressing along the side of the leg. The warmth spreads slowly, seeping through the blanket to the skin beneath. It tilts its head, inviting a slow scratch under the jaw. The purr begins again, steady, low, and as rhythmic as the current. Above, the palm fronds whisper to one another in a language older than the house. Somewhere downstream, a soft splash sounds, then fades into the night's hush. The cat blinks, eyes catching the lamplight, turning amber before closing once more. The river holds its course, the same path it has always taken, past the veranda, past the mist, toward unseen bends. The moon hangs unshaken in the sky, holding everything in its patient glow. The night feels whole, as if nothing else exists beyond this stretch of river, this house, this quiet weight of fur and breath. The cat shifts on the lap, stretching one paw forward until it touches the rail. Its claws remain hidden, the pads pressing softly against the warm wood. A hand moves in slow, even strokes along its back, tracing the line of fur from neck to tail. Each movement draws a deeper purr, the sound folding into the hum of the night. The tea is lifted, the rim warm against the fingers, the scent of lemongrass and honey rising. A sip brings gentle heat to the mouth, the flavor lingering at the back of the tongue. Beyond the veranda, the river catches the moonlight in countless small ripples. They shift and merge, carrying glimmers downstream in a slow procession. The blanket adjusts higher over the knees, the fabric gathering in soft folds. Mist drifts onto the steps, wrapping the first stones in a pale veil. The cat lifts its head, following something unseen beyond the rail. Its eyes reflect both lantern glow and moonlight, twin points of gold and silver. From far downstream, a faint shimmer appears. The lantern boat again, now smaller, more distant. Its light sways gently with the current, threading between shadows on the water. The sound of the oar reaches only as a suggestion, a muted rhythm beneath the river's own. The cup rests again on the table, the surface still sending up thin curls of steam. A palm frond brushes the side of the house, the sound soft and hollow. The air grows cooler, drawing the warmth of the blanket closer. The cat resettles, pressing its side more firmly into the leg, claiming its place in the quiet. The cat remains still for a long moment, its breathing steady, the purr a quiet thread beneath the layered sounds of the night. Fingers move slowly through its fur, feeling the density and softness, the way the warmth shifts under each stroke. The texture changes slightly along its sides, the fur shorter and tighter there, looser and silkier along the spine. Every pass of the hand seems to draw another wave of contentment from the animal, a deeper hum, a softer curve of its body into the lap. The veranda feels enclosed by this small circle of warmth, the blanket, the cat, the cup of tea within easy reach, the gentle pressure of the rail beneath one arm. Beyond that circle the river moves in its quiet rhythm, unbroken and slow, carrying moonlight as though it were something precious. The moon's reflection trembles with each subtle change in the current, scattering light in thin ribbons that dissolve into the darker surface. Mist thickens over the far bank, swallowing the trunks of the nearest palms, their crowns just visible against the lighter tone of the sky. Breeze from that side carries the coolness of water and leaves, wrapping around the veranda before disappearing into the warm air of the house behind. Inside, a lamp burns steadily, its glow pressing against the doorway in long slanting lines. That glow touches the edge of the table, the handle of the teacup, the curve of the teapot's lid, catching in quick, soft glints each time the flame shifts. Tea itself is no longer steaming, yet when lifted, the cup still gives off faint warmth. A sip now is gentle, the flavor of lemongrass lighter, the honey more present, a soft sweetness at the end of each breath. The cup returns to its place without sound, the clay resting smoothly on the wooden surface. A chair beneath shifts slightly with a faint creak as weight is adjusted, the sound so low it seems to dissolve before fully reaching the air. The cat shifts too, lifting its head just enough to glance toward the steps. Its eyes, half-shadowed, pick up both the deep gold of the lamp and the cool silver of the moon, merging into an amber that holds steady for a few heartbeats. From downstream, a lantern boat has grown more distinct, its light a steady, swaying point, small but unwavering in the darkness. It is farther than before, yet its presence is undeniable. An oar dips at a slow rhythm, each stroke invisible but felt in the way the light sways, in the way reflections on the water stretch and curl. As it moves, the lantern sends thin beams across the river, briefly catching the edges of reeds near the bank, slipping over the smooth backs of stones just below the surface. Mist shifts to let it pass, folding back behind it in slow, deliberate motion. Closer to the veranda, The water holds stillness, only the faintest quiver where the current brushes past a hidden branch. A scent of bamboo drifts again, faint but unmistakable, riding the same breath of air that carries the faintest echo of water sliding along the boat's hull. The cat's ear turns toward that sound, though its body remains still, pressed along the length of the lap. Fingers resume their path along its back, tracing the slow rise and fall of breath, the curve of shoulder to hip, the softness at the base of the tail. Purring returns in full, a vibration felt through the fabric of the blanket, through the boards of the chair, into the hand that rests against it. Above, a palm frond shifts, its tip brushing the veranda post, a sound like a slow exhale. Somewhere upriver, a bird calls once, low, sustained, and fading into the mist. Lantern light grows fainter as it continues its slow drift downstream, absorbed again by the distance and the fog. Its glow is a memory almost as soon as it disappears, leaving behind a space in the air that still feels shaped by its presence. River fills that space easily, resuming its quiet patterns, the moon taking back full ownership of the light on the water. A cup is lifted again, the weight familiar, the surface now cool against the lips. The taste remains soft, the honey settling in the back of the throat. When the cup returns to the table, the fingers linger on the rim for a moment before sliding back to the cat. The blanket is pulled a little closer, the folds gathered under the forearms, the fabric heavy and comforting. The chair leans back just enough to change the view, the sky widening, the tops of the palms framing the edges of vision. Stars fill the open space, their light sharper than the moon's, but less commanding. The cat turns onto its side, exposing the softer fur along its ribs, one paw reaching up toward the arm that strokes it. Pads press gently against the skin, the claws still sheathed, the gesture unthinking, but full of trust. From the far hills, a breeze descends again, cooler this time, carrying the scent of wet earth and distant rain. It slides over the veranda, curling briefly around the legs of the chair before escaping toward the water. Mist responds by shifting, drifting closer to the house, its tendrils soft against the edges of the steps. A small moth flutters briefly in the lantern's light inside the doorway, circling once before disappearing back into the shadows. The river's murmur seems lower now, more even, as though matching the slow pace of breath on the veranda. Every sound finds its place in the layered quiet, the soft brush of fur under the hand, the faint creak of the boards, the distant, nearly imagined rhythm of an oar far away. Night folds itself deeper, each detail held in the steady hands of the moon and the river. Nothing feels hurried. Even the passing of time is without edges, a slow current that carries everything in the same direction. The cat's eyes close fully now, its body relaxing into a warm, pliant weight across the lap. Purring is steady and unbroken, a pulse that seems to sync with the sound of the water, the sway of the palms, the movement of the breath. On the table, the cup cools completely, yet its scent remains, lingering in the air like a memory. And beyond it all, the jungle stands watch, silent and immense, its presence felt in the deep quiet between each small sound. The cat shifts again, slowly kneading the blanket with its front paws. Each press is deliberate, the claws still hidden, the movement sending a faint rhythm into the lap. Its weight adjusts as it stretches forward, then curls back into the same place. Fingers trace the arc of its spine, feeling the slight give beneath the thick fur. Warmth spreads outward, as if the cat were a small hearth set into the night. Purring continues, low and resonant, finding a place deep in the chest of the listener. Outside the rail, the river reflects the stars in scattered fragments, each tremble of water breaking them apart and joining them again. The moon's path is clearer now, a long band of silver and pale gold stretching into the mist. The far bank is only a suggestion, dark shapes of palms softened into silhouettes. Mist wraps around their bases, pooling in the lower air as if reluctant to leave the ground. From inside, the lamp's glow paints a warm rectangle on the veranda boards. That light catches in the edge of the teacup, flashing briefly when the cup is moved. The tea has cooled, yet the aroma remains rich, layers of lemongrass and honey rising when the cup is lifted. The sip is smooth, the sweetness trailing into the breath, the warmth lingering in the throat. The cup rests again on the table, and the hand returns to the soft curve of the cat's side. Breathing is slow and even, each rise and fall matched with the steady sound of the river. From far upstream, a faint ripple of light appears, small at first, then slowly defining itself. It is the lantern boat again, farther away now, moving toward another bend. The glow sways with the current, the oar dipping in and out in a motion too slow to hear, but easy to imagine. Its reflection stretches and shivers across the water, touching both banks before breaking apart. The cat's ears turn toward it, though the rest of its body stays perfectly at rest. A breeze shifts, carrying a breath of bamboo and the cool scent of distant rain. Palms above answer with a whisper, their fronds brushing together in long, low sighs. One frond tilts enough to send a drop of collected moisture down, striking the veranda rail with a gentle tap. That sound joins the murmur of the river, blending into a texture too soft to pull apart. The cat rolls slightly, resting its head on the arm, whiskers brushing the skin in faint electric lines. Its paw opens once, then closes again, claws still hidden, the gesture lazy and assured. A moth drifts up from the shadows under the steps, moving in slow spirals toward the light of the lamp. It pauses just beyond the doorway, wings catching the golden glow before disappearing into the dark again. Water near the bank folds around the roots of a palm that leans out over the river, its trunk pale in the moonlight. In the shallows, small ripples move outward in widening rings, the cause unseen. Mist shifts again, revealing a slice of the far shore, stones and low plants shining faintly before the fog closes back over them. The air carries the scent of wet earth, mixing with the faint sweetness of the tea and the warm, clean smell of the cat's fur. When the hand moves from its side to the back of its neck, the purr deepens, a sound felt more than heard. The chair's woven seat gives a slow creak as the body leans forward to adjust the blanket. Fabric slides easily, texture soft and thick, holding the day's last traces of heat. The river moves on without pause, its voice a constant murmur that seems to slow the heart's own pace. Every detail, lamp glow, silver on water, weight of the cat, feels suspended, as if the night itself were holding them in place. The night holds everything in a slower rhythm now. Movements are few, each one unfolding with long spaces between. The river's voice softens, a background hum blending with the steady purr of the cat. Air has cooled enough that the blanket feels heavier, its folds wrapping closely over the legs. The cat is still, except for the slow rise and fall of its breathing. Warm body pressed along the lap, head turned slightly toward the water. The hand resting on its back moves only now and then, a single pass along the spine before returning to stillness. Moon's reflection lies unbroken across the river, a wide band of pale light leading into the mist. Stars shimmer faintly within that band, shapes stretched by the current until dissolving into haze. Mist drifts closer to the veranda, touching the first steps with a cool, damp breath. The far shore disappears from sight, replaced by a shifting wall of white. A palm frond above tilts forward in the breeze, its tip brushing the post with the lightest sound. The lantern inside the house burns low, its glow more amber now, edges feathered and soft. That glow touches the cup on the table, the curve of the teapot, the smooth surface of the veranda rail. Steam no longer rises from the tea, but the scent remains, faint and steady, drifting into the night. Somewhere far away, a night bird calls once, the sound long and low, vanishing into mist without echo. The chair creaks faintly as weight shifts, leaning back, the view of the sky widening. Between tall palms, stars rest unmoving, sharp and clear against the deep blue. The cat blinks once very slowly, then closes its eyes again, the lids soft and heavy. Its tail twitches near the tip, then becomes still. The river carries a single leaf past the veranda, surface glistening with drops of mist. It spins once in moonlight before disappearing into the curve of the current. The blanket's weight deepens with the stillness, each fold pressing gently into the legs. Palm shadows move across the boards, stretching and curling in slow patterns. The sound of the oar is gone now, the lantern boat far downstream, leaving only the river's natural pace. That pace seems to slow further, as if it too had settled into rest. Mist curls upward along the bank, swirling once around the base of a veranda post before thinning into the air. The cat's breathing is steady, a perfect rhythm that feels like part of the night itself. The hand on its back remains in place, fingers relaxed, palm resting over the gentle rise and fall. Far above, a cloud drifts across the moon, softening the light for a long moment. The river's reflection dims, becoming a sheet of gray-silver, the details fading into shadow. When the cloud passes, the moon returns, the light flooding back slowly as though poured into the water. Insects hum softly in the grass near the steps, their sound thin and constant, unchanging. Another palm frond sways, the movement as gradual as breath, its sound low and even. The lamp's flame inside flickers once, then steadies, its light brushing the edge of the doorway. The cat shifts just enough to tuck its front paws under its chest, the movement slow, almost dreamlike. Its head lowers further, resting fully now, eyes closed, breath even deeper. The scent of the river grows more pronounced, a cool mineral fragrance mixed with the faint sweetness of wet leaves. The blanket traps the warmth of both the body and the cat, creating a small world of comfort inside the greater stillness. The rail, under the other hand, is smooth and cool, the day's heat long gone. The cup remains untouched, its surface glinting faintly in the low light. The night feels thick, as though it has wrapped itself around the house and river entirely. Even the stars seem quieter, their light steady but subdued. Mist rises higher along the bank, hiding the stones completely, softening the edge between land and water. No movement breaks the surface of the river. It appears as a single sheet of moving light. The air has the weight of deep night, a fullness that invites nothing but rest. The purr beneath the hand slows, the sound stretching into longer, quieter waves. The chair's woven seat holds the body fully now, every muscle surrendered to stillness. The moon leans toward the hills, its light sliding lower on the water. Palms keep their same gentle sway, shadows barely shifting across the veranda. Inside, the lamp's glow flickers once more, then steadies, its warmth reaching only to the threshold. Mist absorbs the edges of the light, blending it into the darkness. The breath matches the cat's, slow, deep, effortless, until it's hard to tell which is which. The night continues without change, every sound, every shadow, every scent exactly where it belongs. Nothing presses forward, nothing fades away. Only the steady flow of the river, the warmth of the blanket, the weight of the cat, and the moon's long path remain. Each moment folds into the next without end, without edge, carrying the mind further into quiet. Mist thickens once more, wrapping the veranda in its cool veil. Beyond it, the river moves unseen, its presence filling the air like a heartbeat. The cat's purr grows softer still, almost lost to the ear, felt only as a faint vibration through the hand. Moon's reflection sways with the current, breaking into fragments, then joining again. Above, A final star peeks between palm fronds, a single bright point in the stillness. The night holds all of it, and in that holding, nothing else is needed. The breath falls into an easy rhythm, in, out. The river flows at the same pace. A low hum of insects fills the air, steady, unchanging. The blanket is warm and heavy, holding the body in place. The cat's fur is soft beneath the hand, its warmth constant. Purring slows each vibration longer, gentler. Moonlight rests on the water, unmoving except for the slow drift of the current. Mist drapes the veranda steps, cool and weightless. The chair supports every part of the body, no effort needed. Palms sway once, then hold still again. The lamp inside flickers, the glow soft, almost gone. The air carries the scent of tea, faint, sweet, familiar. The river's sound blends with the breath, the same rise, the same fall. Eyes grow heavier, closing for longer between each slow blink. Warmth spreads from the blanket, from the cat, from the air itself. The world beyond the veranda is only shapes, shadows, light. Nothing asks to be remembered, nothing asks to be named. The purr becomes a whisper under the hand. Moonlight folds into the mist, fading softly. Everything is still, everything is warm, everything is safe.